Hello. In this session, we're going to look at how to write your book. So far, we've looked at the preparation, we've looked at the research, and we've looked at the structuring. And now you're ready to write your book. The first thing you have to do is to schedule your calendar. Well, now you're all structured and organised, that's not such a difficult thing to do. You know you've got, let's say, 9 chapters, and each of those chapters has 10 points, and each of those points has 3 to 5 questions. So the thing to do is to schedule your calendar. Let's say you can write 1 point in half an hour. And actually, you can probably write more than that, but let's say half an hour. And let's say you've scheduled yourself an hour a day. Well, that means you can get through 2 points. Now, if you can get through 2 points in a day, that means that you can get through 10 points, 1 chapter, in a week, in 5 days. How cool is that? 5 sessions, and you've written a chapter. That's awesome. So what you do is you put that schedule into your calendar. You've always got the weekend to catch up if something desperate happens on a day. You can put some time aside on the weekend, catch up, and you're ready to go the following week. So scheduling is really important. The second thing that you do is write a section at a time. Well, you say that's obvious. Yes, but there's a trick that I'm going to give you, and this trick is gold. Absolutely marvellous. I love it. I use it all the time. After I've written my section, what I do is I read through what the next section is going to be about. Then all day while I'm doing whatever I'm doing, and at night when my brain is working, it's working on that next section, so that when I sit down to write, it all comes bubbling out, and there it's easy to write. So each section becomes an easy task to write, and because it's easy, it's a joy. And because you've been thinking about it all day, you're working on it, your brain's been working on it, you're desperate to sit down and write it, and it's great. And so you can get through easily, with this system, a chapter a week. And the important thing that I want to tell you is that at the end of that week, at the end of that chapter, reward yourself. Now, you look forward, you've finished the chapter, you're awesome, you've written this wonderful chapter, give yourself a reward. If that means going out to dinner or having a glass of champagne or a bubble bath or taking the children to the beach, whatever it is that you do for your rewards in your life, reward yourself after every single chapter, because you are an amazing person who's written a chapter of their book. Now, I often talk to students and they say, you know what, I can't write. I'm okay talking to people, I know my subject, but when I sit down at that computer, I can't write. Well, there are 3 ways out of that. The first way is to transcribe it yourself. There's a program, which I'm sure some of you have heard of, called Dragon. You have to talk into this program and it transcribes it for you. One of the problems with that is that it takes a long time to train your dragon. I actually love that. It takes a long time to train your dragon. And some voices, Dragon finds more difficult than others. And for some reason, when I talk into Dragon, doesn't matter how long I've trained it, it comes out as rubbish. Maybe I'm not American enough. Another way of doing this is by speaking into your computer, recording your voice, and sending it away to a transcriber to put into text for you. And a lot of people say, but isn't that expensive? Well, it depends. There's a site called Fiverr. There's also Odesk and places like this where you can go and you can send them your work and they will send it back as a transcription, which is great. And some of it is not very expensive. Now, I can't guarantee the quality, but as a friend of mine always says, you can't edit a blank page. If they give you something that's 90% correct, 95% correct, you can go through and you can edit it. We'll be looking at editing in the next session. The third way is by using a ghostwriter. Now, I'm quite happy if you want to use a ghostwriter. I was a ghostwriter for many years and still do some work for various people who are good clients, but it's a very expensive way. A ghostwriter takes your research, takes your plan, and writes your book. Now, a good ghostwriter will also sit down with you, they will interview you, they will get to know you, and they will write your book in your voice. Now, that is a very high-level skill, and it's a skill that you will pay for. You can pay up to $100,000 for a really top-class ghostwriter. You can have it done a lot cheaper too, but I think with ghostwriting, maybe it's worth spending the money on the quality. You'll have to make up your own mind about that. But you can pay, as I say, from $5,000 up to $100,000. The last thing you do in the writing section is to add graphs, charts, pictures, illustrations, whatever you want, all the graphic work that you want into your book. This is the time now to say, oh, it needs a picture here, it needs a graph there. And at this point, you have the first draft of your book. Isn't that amazing? By the end of the writing section, you have your book. That's not really the end, because you have to go on and edit it. And editing is something that we'll look at in the next session.